Okay, let's sit down and talk a little bit. Welcome all of you to our Saturday morning chant class. I'm glad you're here. I apologize for the mess of the temple. We're building a new gate, new entrance, and we also are reupholstering the bowing cushions. That's why there are lots of bowing cushions in the Buddha Hall right now. Since there are a lot of bowing cushions, I thought that the wise man will accord with conditions. That's why I asked my boys to come up here and speak Dharma to you. Okay, so that we can make good use of these bowing cushions before they put them away. Besides, they are preparing to become fully ordained monks in June. It's been a hard road for them because our training is very rigorous, a lot more so than a normal training program. So we're looking forward to it. They've been ready for quite a while now, and I'm quite proud of that. And so we're waiting for June for the proper ceremony. We could have organized a private ceremony for them, but I want them to participate in a big ceremony and make connections with their colleagues of the same class, so that in the future they have friends and connections in important places. Today's lecture theme, I like when I ask them to come and talk to you about it as well, is I've been practicing chant for 20 years. And the last 20 years I learned a few things about meditation, chant meditation. And I could summarize it to you is that I continue to take chant very seriously. I eagerly await practicing chant every day. It's the time to practice chant every day. Why is that? For example, this morning I sat here with you for an hour, and I felt so peaceful after the hour, So I too personally get a lot out of chant. And why is that? Because in principle, chant, the reason I personally practice chant, the reason we teach you about chant meditation, is in order to, improve ourselves, to help you become a better person. Okay, that's what chant is about. The spirit of chant is self-improvement. Okay, English okay, or you wish Vietnamese? Is English okay? Do you need Vietnamese? You need Vietnamese? No, you don't need Vietnamese. Then we can speak a little bit more, because I don't have to translate. Unless my Vietnamese novice starts speaking in Vietnamese, then I can translate for you. Why is that? Okay, so chant is about self-improvement. What self-improvement? Because when you practice chant, you will improve your well-being, whether it's physical, emotional, or intellectual. We're not going to go into spiritual, because this class is not about spirituality. We're not trying to convert you at all. It's never our interest, my interest, personal interest, to convert people at all. The last 8 years of teaching meditation, I can tell you honestly, I never tried to convert anyone at all to Buddhism. We're simply sharing with you what we know about meditation in order to help improve your lives, if you wish to learn. That's our attitude. Okay? So, anyway, the theme again today, and you see how well prepared these guys are, is chant. You learn chant, you practice chant, and you teach chant in order to improve ourselves, emotionally, physically, and intellectually. Okay, I leave the floor to these people, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us. Okay, so we can take turns, going from the tall novice to the short novice and so on, and they can comment to you on the various aspects of self-improvement. Improvement are many facets, have many facets. It has to be physical, it has to be emotional, and it has to be intellectual. And I found that to be the case when I practiced meditation for the last 20 years. All right, go ahead.
All right. I guess I get started here as the slightly taller of the novice.
You can talk about anything. You can choose anything that you that appeals to you, that you want to talk about. Could be emotional, could be intellectual, could be physical. Okay. Yeah. And you can ask some questions, whatever interests you, with whatever you want them to talk about. Is it fair? Okay. I just back them up.
So yeah, I guess we'll just share a little bit of our experience, and I hope that if I make any mistakes in the Dharma, that Master will correct me so I don't mislead anybody. But maybe I'll just bring up sort of generally the area of looking at our own faults, kind of looking at our bad habits or the ways that we act, the mistakes that we're making, and learning to really try to improve and become better people. I mean, I personally can see a lot of these sort of bad patterns or habits that come up, especially in this training environment, because it's sort of kind of like a high pressure environment, so it tends to stress your weak points. So I, can see for myself some of these challenges, and it's very difficult to really change or to really improve those things. For me, anyways, is a big challenge. But I feel like this, at least I have a lot of faith in this practice to help me overcome those obstacles. Let's see if I bring up anything specifics. Well, first let me see if anybody has any questions that come up for them around that area. Is something I can try to address.
I have a question. Yeah. Why is it why is Chan improving? How can Chan improve your physical health?
Specifically, the physical health. I guess that's something I was just talking to the people in the meditation class. Since we have all sorts of illnesses and problems in our body which we may not be aware of, but that is according to the Chinese systems, because we have blockages in our qi, or the energy flow in our bodies. Some places are blocked, and that's eventually manifests as illnesses. So Chan will increase the qi, the energy flow in our body as we sit longer, especially as we sit there and endure the pain. The body will react by strengthening the qi flow in the whole system, which will start to unblock these areas.
And you can jump in too, Sincher, if you wish. Okay, it's a joint a joint operation between the Vietnamese and the Swiss people. So.
Con nói này.
Con nói gì nói. You can jump in and contribute as well. It's not a as you can tell, we're well prepared for this today's talk.
Tôi xin chia sẻ một cái kinh nghiệm là
share my personal experience.
Tôi tới đây cái Tam Bộ này là khoảng gần 1 năm.
Been here for almost a year now.
Và cái chương trình huấn luyện của thầy ở đây rất là căng thẳng, là vừa phục vụ Phật tử tới đây để cho người ta tu, mà vừa tự train chúng tôi và điều hành cái chùa này, cho nên rất là căng thẳng.
The training program is very demanding because we need to go through the training program, personal training program, as well as to work and help the people who come to the temple.
Cái điều mà rất là thách thức nhất là không có ăn buổi chiều. Cái thói quen mình là ăn mỗi ngày 3 bữa.
Is that he doesn't eat dinner.
Cho nên khi chúng tôi thấy mới vào chùa này rất là chiều, rất là căng thẳng, là cái thói quen của mình khó có mà dứt được như vậy. Nhưng mà qua cái chương trình tu học thiền đó thì tôi thấy gần 1 năm qua tôi không có bệnh lặt vặt như trước khi đi vô chùa này.
The fact of learning not to eat in the evening was challenging for him, but the one thing he noticed is that after being here for almost a year, he noticed that he's a lot healthier. He's not have small illnesses such as he used to be sick. You have a cold. Yes, we have a question here.
Could you elaborate why it would be difficult not to eat in the evening? You're not supposed to, you just don't eat in the evening. So why is that difficult? Or why was that difficult?
Bởi vì when we meditate, when you sit cross-legged like this, when you eat in the evening, it makes you full stomach and you difficult to go with the flow, with the meditation. Make you like obstacle, make you feel not good. And I voluntarily stop it. One day, the kitchen staff have very good soup, and they told me that come and eat. Very good soup, vegetable soup. So I can eat the bowl. And from 6 o'clock in the p.m. to midnight, I cannot sit. It feels so uncomfortable and so full in the stomach and not any nutrition. Not good for me.
Let me explain to you a little bit, elaborate a little bit, because you seem to be curious about that. It seems so counterintuitive not to eat in the evening. We all are used to eating a good meal in the evening. That's an important meal for most families, right? This is when we see each other. But when you become a left-form person, our training program is slightly different in that we put quite a bit of emphasis on meditation, on chant. The reason being that I didn't tell you is that they go through a different training program than you. You only meditate maybe an hour a day or maybe once a week on Saturday morning, hopefully. But they have to meditate every day for quite a few hours. All right? So their chant meditation training is a lot more intensive than yours. Why is that? Because they need to know and make improvement a lot quicker than you so that they can teach you eventually. All right? So it's a much more demanding program for them. And in the process, and they go through a lot more than sitting meditation. They do walking meditation. They do all kinds of meditation. Our meditation program is a lot more pervasive, a lot more multifaceted than your meditation training program, the way we teach you. Okay? So the fact of the matter is that they meditate a lot during the day. I'd say on the average about several hours a day. They don't realize it, but actually what they do is meditation. I don't explain everything to them yet. Okay? So several hours a day of meditation like that, one thing that happens to them that doesn't normally happen to you. That is, you meditate for several hours like that during the day. The chi flows in your system is very, very strong. Very, very strong. And immediately, it has immediate effect of making you healthier. The stronger the chi flows, the healthier you become naturally. Okay? Health, physical health, is associated with a strong chi flow, physically. All right? So far, so good? You have any problems with that? Do you agree, novices? Yes or no?
Dạ đúng rồi.
Okay, let me explain it. I'm not done yet. Okay. So, when the chi flows that strongly, what happens? You naturally, when you eat food, the food gets in the way of that flow. And it slows you down. It slows the chi flow down. That's why they realize that when they eat in the evening, okay, it actually hampers the chi flow in the system. That's why they naturally decide not to eat and follow the schedule not to eat in the evening because they feel better. The reason you eat in the evening because it makes you feel better, right? Am I correct? Mm-hmm. It's fun, it's pleasant, it feels good, okay? And all those things. But for them, when they eat in the evening, they don't feel as good. That's why they choose not to eat. We don't force them, okay? Especially his age. When he's older, we don't force them anymore. And younger, we force them so that they make a little bit progress a little bit quicker. When they're older, we don't force them anymore. Yes, sir?
Did I misunderstand him? I understood that he said it was difficult for him not to eat in the evening.
Initially, yes. Force a habit.
Because of habit.
Right. Now, eventually, after he gets used to the program a little bit, more. See, before when he first came in, he couldn't keep up with the intense meditation training that happens every day. Okay, but within 2 or 3 months, his body got adjusted to it, and he naturally didn't want to eat in the evening. Okay, it's a hindrance actually to us to eat in the evening because it weighs us down, makes us feel heavy, and the chi doesn't feel as strong. Okay? Yes, sir.
I was going to ask Sanjay a question in connection with this one. He said it was actually quite a challenge to overcome the difficult bad habits. I was going to ask you for an example that was maybe easier to overcome, and another example that is very difficult to overcome with your practice. So, by the way, is dropping to eat or not to eat in the evening, I thought, was an easy challenge. But maybe it's different for every person.
Yeah, for me, that's definitely easier than some of the other areas because it's a little more concrete of a challenge, and also I worked on it gradually. So initially, I just ate less for dinner. Before I was even ordained, I just eat some fruit, say for dinner only, and then. So it was kind of a gradual process where my body got accustomed to that rhythm, and then I could drop the habit of feeling like I need to eat in the evening. So that's I guess an easier habit to change. But some of the harder habits you're asking about are, like my tendency to think too much and to deal with problems by processing and analyzing them. I have a lot of work to do at the temple, and so my habitual way of dealing with all this work is to just think a lot or think excessively, which then uses up a lot of my energy into that mental processing. So if I tend to get worn out if I'm doing too much work and get overly tired, and so it just becomes it's a challenge, and it's very hard for me to change that kind of habit because a lot of it is almost subconscious, like it's not really conscious processing, or I'm not consciously aware of all the thoughts that are going on in my head, but I can sense when I have too much to do that there's that kind of mental overload that I put on myself.
Wouldn't an easy answer be you just don't do that much work, period? Tomorrow's another day. You some tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, practically speaking, that's true, but there's just so much to do that my habitual reaction is I get, sort of stressed about it, or I try to figure out how to do all these things, and one way or another, I deal with it by thinking, and that I have to rely on my thinking process to deal with all these things that I'm doing.
Does that mean you're erecting on these self-erected walls and barriers that you're putting up? You see the world out there, the world is full of problems. So you shove them all together and you see them and you think you have to resolve them, as opposed to letting go. And not erecting a barrier that has to be resolved every day.
I'm not sure I totally understand your question, but I could comment that in my understanding, part of my training is that that it's by being thrown into difficult situations that are over my head that eventually I will figure out ways to improve, to deal with the situation better, just because I have to. It's like being, thrown into the deep end of the pool. You're either going to sink or swim. So eventually you just, by being overloaded like that, part of it is just putting me in a situation where I have to learn to get better, to survive. At least that's part of my understanding that.
I can show you something from my experience. I found that often I erect all these problems. They're not really here, just assemble them. And I think I have to climb over them. It would be better if I would not erect them in the first place.
That seems to be a family trait, doesn't it? How Philip?
No.
You have the same problem too?
I have to think about it.
See?
Good question. Before you mentioned talking about chi flow and how the chi flow would be helped by different bottlenecks to break through different bottlenecks. And then you also mentioned that there's sort of a parallel to blood flow in your knees. Is this a metaphor? Is the relationship between blood flow and chi flow one that is historically discussed within Chan, or is this a modern explanation or understanding of what chi flow might be? I guess to repeat the question, what does Chan say about the relationship between chi and blood flow?
Yeah, I've heard masters speak about that I think it's a traditional understanding that the chi leads the blood, or it's actually the mind leads the chi, which leads the blood. So when your intention goes, you're aware of the pain in your knees, your awareness and your attention goes there, and then your chi goes to where your attention goes, and then eventually, when your chi is strong enough, it brings the blood through to those areas. That's my understanding. So it is kind of like a progression, but it definitely is a relationship.
Okay, so then attention was like another, so attention is a separate thing from chi, is a separate thing from blood flow, and they relate to one another somehow.
Yeah.
What do you think, Xian? What is your understanding of that model?
I think that when I was a heart surgery, I was open heart surgery in December 2008, and after 1 month after that, I have another surgery for 3 bypass. Put the stent inside because the first surgery failed. So when I was there, I experienced that the doctor have a device to listen to the vein in the thigh, upper thigh. He told the doctor student that the flow of the fluid go to that two vein very strong and very fast. So they listen to that. So now I realize that when we might cross leg like this, two of the upper of the foot will block that two vein. It means to force the blood to go to another way, not too much like normally. And that's why we feel hurt and we feel something uncomfortable. But I think that our body nature, they have the way they make the fluid go. And I experienced last session in winter for 4 weeks, from 3 in the morning to 12 in midnight. And the last 2 weeks, suddenly I feel nothing hurt. I feel look like you sit and you watch television, no matter how long. I don't care about 1 hour when master hit. I don't wait for the bell. I don't feel comfortable. More comfortable than you sit to watch television. No hurt, no tired, nothing. You feel so peaceful. That's why we try for not eat till afternoon. A lot of benefit than eating. And I don't boast myself, but sometimes I didn't tell the master. The midnight at 12 o'clock, I wake up, I meditate by myself in my room. Because I feel when meditate, it's a lot better. I feel a lot better when I sit. And after that, my body improve, my mind improve. Everything happen. Look like you see the problem with yourself. But I face them with very gentle, very easy. I don't feel anxiety and I don't feel worry and I feel angry or something. My body is better. That's why I sacrifice a lot of time. Midnight too. I wake up. I set up the alarm clock. I wake up and I sit about 1 hour and a half hour. And I sit and sleep back. I wake up at 3:30. Prepare for the morning ceremony.
Let me elaborate it for you so that you to see if my novices agree with this way of explaining. Okay, and you need to explain in a clearer fashion to help people understand why we teach them, they train Chan meditation is this way. What he is talking about is that remember, we eat dinner because it's pleasant, because it feels good, right? And they realize that because of extensive training, their extensive meditation schedule, they realize that not eating dinner feels better. You see that? That's why they stop doing it. Because it feels better. It's better for them not to eat dinner. We told them already, but we give them plenty of time to train and see it for themselves. Okay? Same thing, he talked about getting up at midnight and meditating for an hour because meditation at night feels better than sleeping. Simple as that. For him. All right? So this is what you experience. The more you learn, you have to relate to them on, when you teach meditation as teacher, you have to relate to them why it's beneficial for them. All right? So you see, they're doing it because it's beneficial to them. All right? So the more skilled you are, the point is that as a teacher, I tell you, they're better in meditation than you are. That's why they get a lot more out of their sits than you do. That's why they are doing things that you can't do. You can't normally do. It shows you that the meditation, the more skilled you are at meditation, you are able to do a lot more things. You feel better. All right? That's among the theme. You meditate because you feel better. Okay? You improving. Okay? Now, going back to that model of the intention or the will that leads the chi, which leads the blood flow, is this reason. Okay? When we ask you to meditate, okay, when you sit there still and you not use a sitting still, we ask you not to shift, we ask you not to move, okay, and it won't be long that the discomfort comes, okay, and then it won't be long after that, very soon after that, the pain comes, all right, and yet we ask you to sit there and endure it. What for? Okay, because When you sit there and it feels uncomfortable and it feels painful, okay, what happens? Can you think of anything else? No, you can't. Right? Your mind is now focused on the discomfort and the pain. Yes, sir.
So right now my left foot hurts and it is a discomfort there. It's kind of painful.
Right.
I sort of want to listen to you more because it distracts me from the pain.
Right.
So in some ways I either could attend to the pain,
right,
or I could attend to not the pain.
Right.
And
Very good.
If I attend to the pain, it hurts more.
Right.
If I attend not to the pain, then that's sort of I don't know. It's cognitively I get to escape it. So it's sort of pleasing to be distracted.
Right. Because your mind is stronger. Okay? Therefore, you can distract yourself. That's good. Okay? So, be patient, bear with me, and I get to that point. Okay? So, if what happened is that intellectually, you may pay attention to what I'm saying, but physically you're still aware of the pain, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Yep. You just are fooling your mind. You say, I'm not going to do anything about it. Okay? I know it's painful there, but I'm going to, instead of dealing with it, I concentrate on listening, on my ears. Okay? So you're concentrating here, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? But you're still aware of the pain in your legs, aren't you? You are aware, aren't you?
Not always necessarily.
Okay? The point is that you have to concentrate somewhere, either in your ears or your legs, right? You concentrate here in your mind. Say, okay, I want to listen because I'm going to ignore it. I don't want to do anything about it. So what you do is you focus here in order to distract yourself from the pain down here. Correct?
Is that good?
So far, so good. We all agree that's what happens.
Yeah.
Physically, right? Mentally, emotionally. See that?
Is this sort of the same role as the breath? For meditation, the breath is the thing that's not the pain that you attend to? Is the goal to not attend to the pain? I guess that's the same question. Is the goal to attend to the pain or to not attend to the pain?
The goal is to bear it. Yes. In whatever way you can. Yes, ma'am.
So what comes to mind is if you want to let it go, let it go. So you wouldn't focus on it because then you're not letting it go. So it will go away when you finally make the intention of letting it go.
No, you missed it.
Oh.
You missed the point. The point is that to be aware of the leg pains, okay, and choose to endure it. That's the point.
So do you...
Either by sitting there and grinding your teeth, or oh my God, what am I doing here? Complaining, which a lot of us do. What am I doing here? This is nonsense. Hey, my leg's gonna break. Okay, I'm gonna get hurt. All those things. Sounds familiar? Okay. So you sit there, you endure all this personal self-attack. You ask yourself, what is this nonsense you're putting up with? Okay? What if you're going to hurt yourself? And yet, that's called enduring it. The process is endurance, is putting up with it. Okay? By whatever it takes. Either by sitting there and complain, and grind your teeth and whatever, or by focusing your mind away from the pain. It doesn't matter. It's still called endurance. You agree? You cannot escape it. It's there. Like it or not, it's still there. Whatever your mind does, whatever it's thinking about the east or the west, the pain is still there. Why is that? Because the blood is not circulating. This is why it's so difficult to teach people this way. This is why it's not being trained anymore. Because it's difficult to explain to you why you should be doing it. Yes, sir.
I have thought
I'm not done yet, but I'm coming back to you. Don't worry, it's part of the answer. Yes.
I thought the purpose of enduring the pain is the pain needs to be so strong that you're not able to listen to you anymore, or you're not able to produce thoughts.
No.
But if you allow him to listen to you, or if you allow me to have continuous thoughts, then that defeats the purpose.
No. Initially, okay, see, this is why he knows too much, and therefore he's trying to explain to you too much. Initially, for all of you, including them, they don't realize it. Still, that's why they don't get it yet, because they go to the training, but they are learning how to train you. Okay? But they don't understand why they're doing it yet. The initial purpose for you, all of you, is to sit there and learn to endure it. That's the first lesson. Learn to bear with it. Do whatever it takes to bear with it. Okay? And when you do that, great things happen to you. That's all there is to it. That's the secret of Chan. Just bear it. More and more and more. And the secret is that if you learn to bear the discomfort and the pain more, a little bit more each time, then eventually the pain will peak. And things of nature is that when things reach its peak, what happens? It has to decrease. That's physical, right? You shoot an arrow in the sky. Eventually has to fall down. It cannot go up forever. The pain cannot go up forever. So far, so good? It's not easy, but if you choose to do it that way, then great things happen. Great things happen to you. Okay? That's all you need to know. Now, going back to the model of the will leading the chi, leading the blood, right? Remember, when you cross your legs, when you sit there, the blood isn't circulating in your butt, right? Never mind about your legs. The blood is not circulating. So that's what we do. We shift. Okay, so that the blood circulates. Right? That's what we normally do. You sit and work and then work at work in a chair. When it feels uncomfortable, you shift. Right? Because the blood needs to be freed. Okay? Now, if you sit there during Chan and you feel uncomfortable, that area, the butt, the knees and the ankle and so on, sometimes it's on the back and so on, what happens? It's because the blood is not circulating properly through. Okay? It's not circulating because the chi is not strong enough to lead it. Okay? And so what happens? Okay? You sit there during the training is that you sit there and you bear it. And what happens is that your mind is becoming more and more aware of the pain, of the discomfort, right? And if you choose to, in your case, you say, okay, I'm going to fight it. My way of fighting it is that I will concentrate on something else so that this thing here that's bugging me, okay, I can distract myself. That's concentration, isn't it? Your will is away from this. But actually, you have to concentrate so this doesn't distract you. Correct? Isn't that another way to describe that you are increasing your concentration? Right? You are learning, you are developing the ability to concentrate more. You see that? That's the name of the game. You learn to bear it in whatever it takes. Okay? Either you, at some point in time, some of you, it's too painful, you cannot get away from it anymore, you have to keep on, you have to go back to where it hurts. That's normal. In some cases in very few cases where some people are so strong-willed that they can think of something else, okay, that they completely escape the pain. That's concentration. they're developing the ability to put the mind somewhere else so that this can be ignored. The call here, the complaints here are not loud enough to distract you anymore. That's concentration. So far, so good? Is it clear? Right? So we're talking ultimately, the endurance leads you to better concentration. Correct? So far, so good? And when you concentrate like that, the more concentration you can harness mentally, okay, then the chi is so stronger. So far, so good? The chi flows stronger because of high level of concentration, period. The more you can concentrate, the stronger the chi flows. So far, so good. Are you still with me? Concentration, stronger chi flows. All right? Stronger chi flows, the model, stronger chi flow, there's stronger blood flows. It's that simple. Okay? Now, if you can concentrate here and say, okay, I'm going to listen, I'm going to ignore the pain here, I'm concentrate here. If the pain increases, I concentrate more. If the pain increases, I concentrate more so that I will not be distracted by this, right? So you keep on increasing the concentration, okay? That will increase the chi flow and increase the blood flow down here as well eventually. And we'll break through. It's that simple. If you break through, that first breakthrough you have is very important. That's the first success you need to reach. This is why when we train people in Chan, we help you, we urge you, or we encourage you to try to break through the first pain barrier. You have to wait, you have to endure the pain until it peaks, whatever it takes, until it drops. That's when you have the first success. You have to have real first taste of success in Chan. Okay? You can do that in a short time period. You can do it over a long term period. Give you an example. Some people they don't want to go very fast, so they try to do slow. So it might take them about 10 years to go, because they sit and try to sit and try to keep at it. Eventually, the concentration increases, and naturally, the pain is not as intense, and they break through the same pain barrier. Okay? So, because numerically speaking, the discomfort, every time you experience the discomfort, okay, you're adding to that total of pain you need to endure in order to break through. So you can do it over 10 years, 7 years, 8 years, or 8 hours. It's up to you. You see that? But the part of the Chan training is that traditionally back in China, they are a lot more intensive. So their training is more intensive because that's how they progress quicker than you. It goes back to the same model. Okay? The quicker you develop concentration, the quicker you break through. The quicker you break through, the quicker, then equivalently speaking, you are able to concentrate a lot more than before. And therefore, you become healthier. Okay? I'll give you an example. This short one, he used to come in and we get up at early in the morning, and then we go and work all day and do practice all day until the evening. And every time I would drive and we go somewhere together, I noticed he would be dozing off. He says, "Wow, this is great. I don't have to do anything. I just sit back here. And that happens constantly. After 3 months of being here, he sat there and talked to us. No need to sleep anymore, because he became healthier. Doesn't need to take a break anymore. Doesn't need to rest anymore. You see that? That's all. So it is if you're willing to endure the discomfort and just go through that simple model, the simple process of enduring it more and more. Okay? You improve your health. You improve your clarity of mind. All right? Any questions? Yes?
What's the difference between enduring that pain of meditation and some other pain that you might have?
Like what?
Constant. If you're in constant pain, is that in itself dealing with that like a meditation?
Can you be more specific? Like what kind of constant pain are you talking about?
Well, if somebody had cancer and a tumour and
yes.
giving pain.
Or your wife is, your girlfriend is harassing you for tormenting you. That too, right? I don't want to sound too sexist, but yes. Simple answer, yes. Enduring it increases your concentration. Okay? So that's why, for example, that you novices pay attention that the people who are sick, they tend to have better concentration. Okay? Because they have to constantly be aware of the pain they have. Okay? The pain in the knees, the pain in the kidneys, the pain in the lungs. Okay? And they tend to have better concentration because they are thinking about it constantly. They're enduring. They have no choice but endure it. Therefore, the concentration increases. It's a natural form of Chan. Chan, the training we do is we artificially help you create the conditions in you. And we train you, we give you tools to overcome that. Okay? And that's why we systematically help you increase your concentration power. All right? Whereas if you don't have that kind of training, you have to only bear whatever you have. That is, if you have some physical ailments and physical pain, and that's about the limit you're going to reach, is what your awareness of that. Whereas in our training, we go even more intensive than that. And that's why if you have chronic illnesses, chronic pains, you go to the Chan training, the pain and will show you tend to be more intense than your own personal illness. Therefore, if you can overcome the intensive training here, your illness will decrease. Okay? So, does that answer your question? Any other questions? It's about learning to endure. Just bear it more and more until it doesn't bother you anymore. That's the first lesson. Is it clear? You go to other meditation classes, they will shy away from talking to you, teaching you this way. Why? Because when you complain to them, am I going to hurt myself? Am I going to break a leg? Am I going to get into trouble? They cannot help you. That's why they don't teach you this way. Okay? You can feel safe to try it because you try it incrementally. Try to bear it a little bit more each day. That's all you do. Systematically train yourself to endure more and more incrementally. Don't overdo it. Okay? For us, I overdo it. The first time I tried is I The first time I sat in full lotus, I was able to sit it for 2 minutes, and the pain became too intense. I couldn't take it. I unbuckled. I said, no, this is too much, too painful. It's nonsense. It's like self-torture. Okay? And then I read my teacher's instructions. It says just bear more. So I came back and I bore more, and I said I couldn't bear more. This is impossible. How can you? I mean, it's just mentally impossible. So I said, but I have to find a way. So I said, okay, I can't bear more, but I can bear maybe a little bit more, like half a minute more, and it worked. And I said, wow, this is great. Next time I tried it another half a minute. So now from 2 minutes I went to 3 minutes the first week, okay? And then I went maybe 30 seconds. Even a kid can do this. I can do it 2 minutes. So I jumped from 3 minutes to 5. Okay? And then eventually I said, 5 minutes? Come on, I'm a man. Let's go for 15. And then I went for half an hour. And I went for hours. That's all. It's all here. We're different from you. We're different from you because we have more time. We have. So as far as you're concerned, bear and bear more until it goes away. That is your first goal. As simple as that. Never mind about how wonderful and how wise you're going to become doing chant, all those things is down the road. Okay, the real thing is the first part of the training is physical and mental. Physically, it's going to be uncomfortable. There's no two ways about it. Okay, you can't avoid it. If you really want to learn real chant, real meditation, you have to learn to bear the physical discomfort. This is what their novices, that's what your teachers are supposed to help you teach. You understand that, gentlemen, novices? Your job is to help them, convince them to learn, to commit to learn, to endure more and more. That's all. Until there's a goal, until you break through. Yes, sir.
So I guess I still feel like I want to come back to the same question, because I could either choose to say, am I able to endure more minutes of sitting here, or I can endure more pain? And one way I can sit here longer if I don't attend to the pain, but if I sit here for the same amount of time and I attend to it, then it hurts more, even though it's a shorter period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I still don't know, is it preferable to have my goal be to attend to the pain or to not attend to the pain?
The goal is do whatever it takes so that it no longer bothers you when you cross your legs.
Okay.
It's very simple. Bear it. Whatever it takes, whatever you need to do. What I used to do is, I was smart. I said, I self-indulge, if you will. I said, it's too painful. This is no good. And I can't convince myself to keep on doing this day after day. So what did I do? I would sit there, and when I decide once a week to try to break through, try to push as much as I can during the week. And every day I would practice the normal pace. And once a week I push very hard. That one day I would go and buy something that I like to eat. Okay? So I sit there after the first hour, it hurt so much, and I say, okay, this is enough. So I reach for my cookies, for my chocolate. I say, okay, this is my reward for bearing with it for an hour. And so I rewarded myself like you train a dog. Okay? Or a dolphin, if you will. And I said, this is it. And I said, the second piece of candy, the second piece of Lindt chocolate, I said, I have to wait for the next hour. You see that? I trained myself as well. All right? I did whatever it took until the pain goes away. And naturally, when that happens, naturally, your concentration increases. That's how wonderful and very simple it is. Okay? Don't think too much. Yes, sir.
It's a bit of a speculation, but if someone was kind of super flexible and didn't feel any pain if they stayed in a lotus position for 8 hours or something,
yeah.
would you think of a different form of practice that would produce pain?
No, the pain is only an expedient. The pain is only a tool that we temporarily use to teach you one thing: patience. You learn to do something that you don't like. That's very important. Intellectually, right there. Okay? And it has a reason way beyond that. Now we go into spiritual. We go into advanced now. Advanced Chan is that now we go into spiritual. The important part of that fabric is that you're learning not to listen to your complaints, not to be more patient. Eventually you will. That has a process of diminishing the ego. Spiritually. Okay? That's way beyond their level and your level. But we lay all that is part of the foundation for you to go very far. Eventually, you go to the advanced level where you can sit for days and months and years. That's what we're talking about. Okay, it has the same foundation as you are being trained right now. There's no difference. Okay. That's the difference in Chan. We've helped you build a foundation first. Okay, you cannot build a house without a proper foundation, I found out recently. Yes. Yes, sir. Any other questions? Patience. Sit there and patiently endure until it goes away. That's very simple first goal. Okay? Is that what you've been teaching them? No, huh? You've been teaching them a lot of information. And to show your knowledge. No, it's very simple. Teaching meditation is we help you. We need to do things to make sure that you agree to sit there and until you break through that discomfort without moving. Even you sit there in the chair and it becomes more numb and numb and numb, and you say, I'm not moving, I'm not shifting my weight until it goes away. That is meditation. That is Chan. Patience. Learn to endure, to bear the discomfort. That's the first lesson. Okay? And that explains in terms of increase the concentration, therefore increase the chi flow, therefore the blood will break through without you having to do anything. Yes, sir.
I could make an argument that I could be in the shade on the beach, in a lounge chair, not in a lotus position, and be very, very patient. And even minimize, maybe even eliminate my thoughts.
Yes.
What is wrong with that approach?
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. It's just not the best way to train your mind quicker. We're going through a state of self-indulgence here, sitting on the beach and enjoying yourself. Whereas Chan is to choose to bear the discomfort that you intentionally choose to submit your body to.
I'm doing the first thing very patiently.
Mm-hmm. But it's not you have a mindset of self-indulgence versus a mindset of self-discipline. Not listen to your complaints. The thing is that when you're uncomfortable, you complain, right? Am I? You say, okay, this is nonsense. All those reasons you come up to talk yourself out of it, you say, I want to bear with it until my commitment is up. Whereas over here, you don't have to. It's a lot slower. Okay? So it's different mindset we're talking about. We choose to take a loss over here. Here, we choose to self-indulge. It's different. Okay? If you choose to take a loss and discipline yourself to do something that's difficult for you to do, okay? That's called patience. You're developing patience. If you can do it, there's not many things left in the world that you cannot do. You are your own obstacles. Right? You're the one who erect your own walls. The one who tells yourself to stop. Right? Right there. Okay? Very simple. Initially, just bear it. That's all. Bear it until it goes away. And the fact of bearing it, whatever it takes, whether you concentrate on someone's voice or listening to music, it doesn't matter initially. Okay? Bear it. Physically, it's all together, by the way. Okay? You can deal with it by concentrating, and therefore the qi increases, and therefore the blood flow increases. Okay? Or you can go the other route and say, okay, I want to sit here, and I'm gonna let the blood not circulate properly on purpose. I'm gonna bear it. Okay? So you do attacking both physical and intention by listening, by paying attention to it. Okay? And because of that, because of paying attention to it, the qi follows it. The more you pay attention to something, the qi will follow. When the qi follows, the flood follows. That's the model. All right? You see, when you teach meditation, you have to, when we teach meditation, when I teach meditation, I stress more on showing you how to do it, not knowledge. I'm not interested in knowledge. I want to help you. My purpose of teaching you Chan is why I do whatever it takes to help you, hopefully one day, to convince yourself to sit there, endure until it's no longer uncomfortable. Then you reach a major milestone in Chan. The first major milestone is to sit there, not move, not do anything until it goes away. The discomfort goes away. Is it clear? That's all you're supposed to be doing, to teach students. First class. Okay? And so that's why when I started teaching Chan, I did it a very unusual way. I'm going to tell my boys now. I was teaching Chan, and the first couple of years, I would bring the students to the living room, or eventually rent a small recreational room in Lakewood Park recreational area. I would sit down, and what did I do? I talk. I don't even remember what I talked about. But every Saturday morning, I would come in and talk for 2 hours. Okay? So people came and listened, and I have a regular group of 14 to about 20 people who would come on Saturday morning and listen. And they listen, and we talk about anything. We talk about Afghanistan. And so what do you think? For example, today I'd be talking about, we're withdrawing troops from Afghanistan because it's 2014, our commitment is up. So what do you think? So we talk. Or people might ask me about questions about meditation, whatever. And guess what? That's what happens to you. I talk, and it's interesting enough for people to pay attention to what we talked about instead of the discomfort in the legs. So they would shift. They would walk, and they would walk, and they would, stretch their legs on. Eventually, if they come regularly enough to realize that they require less and less stretching their legs, eventually you could sit for an hour still without moving, and then pretty soon, an hour and a half. Pretty soon, 2 hours. What do you call that? I call it meditation. It doesn't matter what you do. Just bear it, don't move until it's no longer uncomfortable. Okay? Does it help? It's very simple. Chant is very simple. They can talk all you want. You can read all the books in the world about meditation. We still have to go back to the same thing. Learn to bear it until the discomfort and the pain goes away. You can do it over 10 years again, or 10 weeks, 10 months, 10 hours. It's up to you. It's a personal choice. That helps? Okay, let's go and have lunch.